Stay with us, Nick. Jason Singh is in Liverpool. Jason, you're the first in your family to go to university. Tell me about it.
Yes, so I decided when I was about 18 that university really wasn't for me at the time, and I felt that I didn't know what I wanted to do.
How old are you now?
29.
Uh-huh.
And I felt that because I didn't know what I wanted to do, I didn't want to waste the student finance provision. So I'd always worked part-time, and I thought, well, if I can work and live, that would buy me time to think through what I want to do with my life, where I'd like to study, that sort of thing. And it was only about a few years ago I decided that I'd like to practice law. So I thought I'll go off and do a degree in a subject that I love for a job that I think I will love doing in the future.
And so you must have, if you were working for a few years before you went to university, you must have come across people who had gone to university and people who hadn't gone to university whilst you were doing that. Did it become very clear to you that the ones who had gone to university had better prospects?
Not at all. I mean, having worked with lots of people who had graduated in Liverpool, especially when I was at the civil service, it became clear that a number of them felt that the university course was either a waste of time or that they hadn't realised, because it's not really pushed in schools and sixth forms, that you can go into work and still achieve well and develop skills on the job. And I think that relates to a broader issue within our society. We've become too obsessed with seeing universities as sort of prep schools for employment, when I think that there's a different value that should be placed on universities. And I think that those who go to university generally bring along with them skills that if they didn't go to university, they would do exceptionally well in the world of work, except that's not really pushed at, say, 16 to 18-year-old level. Most people still think university is the only way, and shamefully many employers still push universities as sort of being the benchmark as entry into work.
Well, if you want to practice law, then you're going to have to go through all that, aren't you? I mean, how are you going to get there?
That's true. I think one has to recognise what goes on in the real world, and there are certain professions and certain jobs for which you need particular training. I'm thinking things like law or medicine. So that's why I decided to come to university. I mean, there are now routes into the legal profession which are vocational, and they are well suited for people who have family obligations or perhaps are not suited to a full-time university career and wish to study part-time. But for myself, I knew that law, it's a requisite that you have a degree. So
where are you studying?
To university. I'm at Cambridge.
All right. And so will you have to, is that a law course that will bring you into the profession, or will you have to go on and do another course after that, a conversion course?
I'll have to do the 1-year conversion course. So at the moment, I'm a history student.
So you've got 3 years of 9,250 or whatever the Cambridge cost is. Then you'll have to do another year in a law conversion course. It's going to cost you a very large amount of money. Is it going to be worth it?
Is it going to be worth it? I think it is. If you look at it empirically, those who have done a degree at places like Cambridge and then gone on to the legal field have gone on to do very well. But I was listening to your caller earlier on who had done events management, and that, a bit like football management, if you look at it empirically, historically, those degrees are relatively new, and the people in those fields who have done exceptionally well generally don't have a degree in events management or, say, football management. And so I think that, again, this goes back to the misplacing of the value of university. We sort of put everything in a university and everything as a tick box and everything as a degree, and I do think there is value in advanced apprenticeships with proper training and proper structure. That I think that universities should not be doing, and that there should be that sort of division of learning and labour.
Jason in Liverpool, thank you. Kate Holland is in the East Midlands.